Hello, I'm Nick Gowing and you're watching BBC World News English. BBC World News English is a series of English language learning books, audios and videos using BBC News stories from around the world. BBC World is the BBC's international 24-hour news and information channel. It brings news, current affairs, documentaries and lifestyle programming to viewers in over 222 million homes right around the world. Well, you're about to see a selection of news stories as broadcast by the BBC. Each story has been carefully chosen to help you improve your English and build your comprehension of the news in English. You'll hear a wide variety of accents in a range of news reports from around the world. I hope you enjoy these news stories from my colleagues here at the BBC. Good luck.
A tourist touched down at Kabul airport, where attack helicopters and military transporters are more standard fare. But then, these aren't your standard travellers. They've chosen burqas over bikinis, street market bustle over poolside lounging to see firsthand what's happened to Afghanistan. They're a curiosity in the tea shops of Kabul, but Afghans say they're happy to welcome tourists back. The Foreign Office may advise against Afghanistan for your next week-long break, but these people are no strangers to exotic destinations, and they say it's worth the risks.
Even I thought it was mad before I came out, but once you're here you think, well, it's not such a crazy idea. You're just seeing what life's actually like here, getting a small sample of what it's like.
It would be untruthful to say that it's not a bit of an adventure. Of course it's an adventure. Even if there hadn't been a war, it would be an adventure to come to Afghanistan.
Tourist attractions here are, not unlike the rest of the country, in need of a bit of work. But it's the chance to witness Afghanistan repair itself that's bringing people here. It's not a holiday for everyone, but for those prepared to chance the adventure, it does do a picture postcard sunset. Kylie Morris, BBC News, Kabul.
One of the most heavily populated cities in the world with appalling traffic problems has at last got a mass transit system. With most just along for the ride, 1 million people a day have packed into trains for the trip on the first completed section. Built with state-of-the-art engineering and British expertise in charge.
Being able to start with a brand new system, we've been able to put in all the latest technology, and it is one of the best, if not the best at the moment in the world. It is unfortunately better than London Underground.
A ticket for the 5-mile journey just 7 rupees, about 10 pence. The metro system itself will cost more than £1.5 billion. A new adventure for Delhi, and some of it is taking a bit of getting used to. Like the escalators. Many have never used them before, and there are staff on duty to help people get the hang of them.
And these escalators have been made sari-proof. They've been specially designed so that long flowing clothing can't get caught in them.
There are extra brushes to keep stray material away from the edges. The huge number of passengers on the first few days have been almost exclusively men, confirming concerns some had that women would not be happy using the metro. Aware of local customs, the management has also asked passengers to stay inside the carriages and not to travel on the roof. Adam Minot, BBC News, Delhi.
"7:30 this morning, and over breakfast the Williams family discussed the day ahead. They've never been on any kind of demonstration before, but Tina Williams feels it's time to take a stand.
Well, I'm going on the march because I think there are lots of avenues through which this crisis can be resolved. I don't feel we have to resort to war at all.
It's not a unanimous decision. Their older son David is staying at home. He believes military force should be considered. An hour later and they set off from their home to meet up with other demonstrators leaving from Southampton. And at 10 o'clock, they join one of the coaches laid on from dozens of towns and cities around the country to take the protesters to the capital. Once they reach London, progress is slow. At 1:15, the Williams family are about halfway along their route, surprised by the numbers, but still convinced it was right to come.
Absolutely amazing. It's nice to see that every person counts and there's a good turnout.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see so many people, but it's brilliant.
But there is still a long way ahead of them. And just over 2 hours later, the main event, the rally at Hyde Park, the speakers the family have come to listen to. But their main purpose has simply been to play a part.
Has it been worth it? Has it achieved what you think it
Well, it's been a long day, a very long march, but I think every step's been worth it if it makes the government listen.
One family among thousands going home tonight hoping that their voice has been heard. Daniel Bircher, BBC News, Hyde Park.
On a breathtaking spring day, they gathered across the continent to mourn their dead. This isn't a country attracted to grand formal occasions. Instead, it was communities, beaches and surf clubs who paid their own special tributes. The emotion is still raw. At the Coogee Rugby Club in Sydney, they lost 6 team members. All had been on an end-of-season tour.
In the dark days to come ahead, we will need your help and your support, because there are truly going to be some dark days.
At 12 noon exactly, the whole nation came to a stop. This not just a show of grief, but an act of defiance as well. The Prime Minister appeared on television urging Australians not to change too much.
Let us preserve the open, tolerant, harmonious, outward-looking, generous Australian society for which Australia is so widely respected.
The body of the first Australian victim has now been sent back, but it's likely to be up to 6 weeks before all the dead can be identified and brought home.
There's not a cloud in the sky.
People here are only too aware the grieving has just begun.
It would rain on a day like today.
Michael Peschardt, BBC News, Sydney.
Airlines today face a difficult challenge: how to upgrade security to counter the threat from terrorism without pushing the cost of air travel sky high. Well, in Russia, one airline believes it's found the perfect solution. Presenting Aeroflot's Super Sniffer dog, specially produced by the airline at its new breeding centre outside Moscow. The hounds are a cross between a Siberian husky and a jackal. They're cheap to maintain and easy to train. The best thing about them, though, is their nose.
That combination of reindeer herding dog and jackal gives them a great sense of smell. They can sniff out explosive and firearms that expensive machines can't detect.
To prove it, Aeroflot organised a little demonstration. Keep your eye on that black briefcase. There are guns and grenades hidden inside. Contestant number 1, Prima, is a little confused, but now Mirka's hot on the trail and without any problem sniffs out the danger. The case is taken away for closer examination. There's just one slight problem. The dogs may be up to the task, but Aeroflot's X-ray machine, well, isn't having a very good day.
This is the front line in Aeroflot's battle against airline terrorism. Of course, it's all very well sniffing out explosives in the comfort of your own dog school, The real test, though, for these hounds is just up the road at Moscow Airport. If their noses let them down up there, the consequences could be catastrophic.
There aren't enough dog detectives to check out every passenger, so certain flights are targeted, like this one to Paris. Plenty of smells here, although nothing too suspicious. Aeroflot is so pleased with its pooches, it's now planning to market them worldwide.
We are going to receive the international certifications for this new breed, and we would not exclude that we will be making money, because the well-trained dog with such quality would cost a lot in the market.
Back at the breeding centre, the X-ray machine is still not working. But the hounds are hard at it, honing their noses so that Aeroflot's passengers can feel safe in the air. Steve Rosenberg, BBC News, Moscow.
Perched high up in the mountains, out of sight and out of mind, we head towards Pastra. Not a prison, not an army camp, but home to some 100 men. A warehouse for the most vulnerable modern medicine has chosen to ignore. It may have all the hallmarks of a labour camp, a throwback to communist times, but this is 21st century Bulgaria. I'm shown around by Stefan, institutionalised since he was a young boy. In any other European country, he'd probably live in the community. He shares this filthy room with a man who rarely leaves his bed. Further up the corridor, men cram into a dormitory where there is some heat, but it's minus 10 degrees outside, and the windows, they have no glass.
What's so striking is the sense of deprivation and human neglect. The men are incarcerated here with little food and barely any heat. Yet many people in Bulgaria have no idea these places exist.
It's freezing, so human rights groups worry about the high death rate. In Pastra alone, 1 in 10 men died over the past year, the most recent, a 58-year-old. With EU membership within reach, there's pressure to close the homes down.
Bulgaria strives to reach the European level of economic welfare and social welfare. And on the other hand, it has 18th century asylums.
Bulgaria is not alone in continuing the practices of the past. The government told the BBC it has plans to modernise the homes. But when?
The same culture of neglect has been seen despite the change of regimes and governments. And the main problem remains that attitudes haven't altered and discrimination persists.
Calls to ban conditions like these are bound to be louder once Bulgaria secures its seat at the European table. Karen Allen, BBC News, Western Bulgaria.
Today, Kenyans are celebrating an extraordinary victory.
We are very excited that God has given us a different government, and there is peace in Kenya.
This country's politics have been turned on their head. President Moi's party and chosen successor routed.
I accept the choice of the people, and in particular, now concede that Mr. Mwai Kibaki will be the third president.
It's a harsh blow for Kenya's outgoing leader, but at least Daniel Arap Moi can say he's presided over a peaceful transition.
President-elect of the Republic of Kenya to address.
At the age of 72, President Moi's successor isn't exactly a fresh face, but he's promising great things.
You can see that Kenyans